Now it's time for another Board Game Brawl preview with Nick Meanahan, sponsored by BoardGameBliss.com. Hey folks, today we're going to take a look at a game that is currently seeking funding on Kickstarter. That game is called Mageling, and it's from Familiar Games. Now, if you like what you see throughout the rest of this preview video, I'm going to encourage you to go to the official Kickstarter project page. There will be a link up in the top corner of your screen, as well as down in the description section underneath this video. Those links will take you to the page. You can find out more information and hopefully consider backing the project. You only have about a week left in the campaign at the time that this video posts. Now, Mageling is a competitive game or a cooperative game. You have the option either way, wherein the players are these young mages, hence the name of the game, that you are trying to use your spells in all these different schools of magic in order to go through different locations, defeating them by manipulating the magical energies and defeating the opponents that you find there in order to be the first one to go through all the different locations. That's if you play the competitive game. Now, if you play the cooperative game, you're actually trying to save one of the locations from the evil influence of one of the other locations. So even though there's different goals in the game, they actually play mostly the same way, and it involves dice manipulation as well as resource management. Let me go ahead and give you a brief look at how the game is played with a prototype version of the game. So what you see here in this preview may change in the final version, just keep that in mind. Then we're going to come back, we'll discuss it further. Mageling is either a competitive game for 2 to 4 players or a cooperative game for 1 to 4 players. In the competitive game, you and the other players are working against each other to be the first one to defeat the final location in the game and therefore win the game. In cooperative mode, you and the other players are working together to defeat the Cloud Chamber before the Evertree runs out of mana. For now, we're just going to talk about the competitive mode. To set up the game, first give each player a pawn and a spirit crystal playmat of the same color. A token is placed near the energy track on the crystal. This is just an optional reminder tool for you to keep track of the energy you accrue during your turns. There are also areas on the spirit crystal for activating actions. We'll explain those later. Every player also gets from 4 to 7 mana crystals depending on what place in turn order they are at the start of the game. The orange crystals are just 5s. Leave some space for your Grimoire area, which is where you will store up to 8 scrolls during the game. Next, shuffle the main deck, then create a face-up row of 5 cards right next to it by flipping them off the top. This is called the Nexus. There are 5 locations in the game and several cards for each of them. Shuffle each separately, then place 1 card from each deck face down on the table. Always place them in this order from left to right, levels 1 through 5. The Evertree, Grimthorn Forest, Rune City, Sky Tower of Aruim, and Cloud Chamber. All of the player pawns are placed above the Evertree, and when you're ready to begin the game, you'll flip only the Evertree card. Somewhere in the play area, you'll also have purple spawn tokens and red damage tokens, and the 5 rune dice. Every player's turn has 2 phases, roll and action. Start your turn by rolling all 5 rune dice. Each die has the 5 schools of magic depicted on them: Hedge, Dream, Aether, Divination, and Death. There's also 1 phase with a finesse symbol. You may re-roll any of them 1 time, but then they're locked and it's time for your action phase. On your spirit crystal, there are options for your dice. In the draw mana area, you can place up to 2 matching sets of dice and gain 1 mana for every set. Mana can be converted 1 for 1 to energy during your turn, and you can also spend 2 mana to wipe out and replace all the cards in the Nexus. In the focus area, you can place as many finesse dice as you want, or any other rune faces, as long as each of them is the same rune face. Once you place 1 magic rune, each subsequent one must be the same school, or finesse. Each die placed gives you 1 energy. If by chance there is a spirit in the Nexus that is of the same school of magic as the runes that you've been placing in the focus area, you can immediately activate the spirit, gain its effect, discard it, and replace it from the deck. Spirits can do things like give you resources or mess up your opponents. Another action is buying a scroll from the Nexus and placing it in your Grimoire, if you have space. It can't be used in the same turn that you buy it. If you don't have space, you can discard a scroll that you already have. If you have a scroll from a previous turn, you can activate it by placing a die on it that matches the scroll's indicated school of magic. Each card can only be used once per turn, and you'll simply follow the effects on the card. These can be powerful effects, giving you resources and hitting your opponents with effects. It's possible for your scrolls to be damaged during the game, so another action you have is to heal them by placing a dice of the same color on them. 2 energy can be spent to vanquish a spawn. Sometimes you'll be forced to take spawns, either from location effects or the attacks of other players. These go into your play area, and you can't defeat a location until all of your spawns are destroyed. Speaking of locations, you can defeat one of the locations if your pawn is there and if you have the energy indicated on the card, and of course if you have no spawns in front of you. You then gain the reward indicated and move your pawn to the next location in line. If you're the first one to that location, you have to flip it over and trigger whatever the effect of the location is. The game ends when the final location is defeated, and the player who accomplished that is the winner. Cooperative mode is played mostly the same, except that everyone is working together to defeat the last location, the Cloud Chamber, before the Evertree runs out of mana. It starts with a certain amount of mana that gets removed every time it gets back to the start player, though you do get to add mana that is placed on the other locations to the Evertree as you defeat those locations. But that, essentially, is Mageling. Mageling is very interesting because it falls firmly in the bucket of a game that has very easy to learn, fast to learn mechanisms, and yet has strategy in depth. And that's not always a needle that every game can thread, because oftentimes a game is either too bogged down with a ton of different rules that it kind of kills the fun of the game, or a game is just so simple that it's just random nonsense and it's not really worth your time because there's just not much game there. But Mageling manages to make it very fast to learn, but still have so much stuff going on in the game that even a heavy strategic gamer is still going to find something here to sink their teeth into. Well, first, I mean, you have the theme of the different mages using their special powers, and that really comes out through the different scrolls and spirits that you can manipulate in the game. It gives it that little bit of flavor to make it more than just a set of mechanisms. But when you actually get into the mechanisms, you have, it starts off with dice manipulation, because you have a little bit of a Yahtzee style thing where you roll the dice and then you get one reroll, and then have to decide how you're going to spend those dice. And that's where the resource management comes into play. And it's quite interesting because you have to make sure that you can give yourself the energy and at times mana that you need to progress through the game, to energy in order to eventually take out the locations, which is really hard to do. In order to help you get that and to get your resource management amped up, you need scrolls, and you need to be able to take advantage of the spirits that might be out in the Nexus row. And again, this isn't easy to do when you have to build up to it. You get a little bit of energy and mana, then use that to buy maybe a weaker scroll card, but then you use that together with what you can do on your next turn in order to get something even better than that, and eventually just keep amping up and getting your engine going in order to get one of the location cards, which gives you an even bigger boost leading into the next location. But ultimately what matters is taking out that last one. So it's not just that you need to be doing all these things and doing very well for yourself, you need to be doing it fast as well. So you feel like this pressure as you go on, and so there's a natural flow to the game, but there's always tension because you know that even if you're doing very well, the other players are nipping at your heels. Now, the cooperative game is interesting too, because in that game, it's not the tension of the other players, it's the tension of essentially the clock of the game, because the Evertree is running out of mana tokens, and now you need to worry about that because it just keeps clicking and clicking, so you need to rush and get through the locations as quickly as possible. There's more spawns in that version of the game, so players need to take care of those really quickly and help each other out in taking care of them in order to get to the next location, and you get a dwindling amount of mana boosts to the Evertree with each location you go through. So another, again, interesting way to play the game. No matter how you choose to play it, which type of play style appeals to your group, maybe both. But if you fall into one of the categories of liking thematic games with a lot of strategic depth, but not too hard to learn, not long games at all, then definitely you want to check out Mageling. It's on Kickstarter right now. There's less than a week left at the time that you're seeing this video. There's be a link in the top corner of your screen, as well as down in the description section underneath this video. Go there, find out more information, and hopefully consider backing the project. That is Mageling from Familiar Games. Thank you so much for watching and for supporting our sponsor. Take care. Thanks for watching. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Patreon. And make sure to check out our sponsor, Board Game Bliss, where you can find an amazing selection of games from around the world. BoardGameBliss.com. Thanks for your support.